Okay, so we're back, and a little later than we thought we would be
A,
for episode 4.
a little bit
Okay,
later, a bit of
a
a
little
health hiccup.
health hiccups. Yeah, we'll get to that. I do want to address right off the top that on in the beginning of episode 3, I put I quixotically left in like a 15-second like space of dead air after the intro before people start talking, and that's really embarrassing. I'm sorry about that. There was no artistic intent behind that. As much as I would like to say that was, it's a a cool down period for the listener, to help prime them for what's about to. That's not the case at all. And
Personally, I loved it.
you liked it. You
I
liked
like
the.
it felt like I was like building anticipation. Like it was like a little bit long that it made me feel like I was like, okay, I noticed that, but I was like listening to it, and like I was like, I usually I usually listen to podcasts. I don't know like what your opinions on this, but I usually listen to podcasts on double speed. With ours, I never
Okay.
do. Like
Yeah.
just because I want to get like I want to like hear what it is. I don't want to miss anything. But on a lot of podcasts, I listen to it at double speed.
Hmm.
And I was
That's
like,
an option on the Spotify.
I don't know on Spotify. I listen to ours on Apple.
Oh, okay.
So those Apple listens, that's me, baby.
Mm.
But
Mm.
yeah, I always listen to it on Apple, and I put it on like the regular speed, and I was like, this 15-second gap. I was like, is this just what listening on regular speed feels like? Because like whenever you go from double to regular, it feels like you're in slow motion because your
Yeah.
brain like picks up to that double speed. But yeah, I noticed it, and I was like gonna say something, but I was like, maybe he did intend it. And like again, like I said, like it was noticeable, but I did not hate it. Next time we're just gonna build like a 30-second gap, and then just a minute, just you're just waiting for the podcast to start.
Pretty soon it'll just be an hour
Yeah,
of gap between the intro and when we start talking. Yeah, no,
yeah.
again, that was completely unintentional. Sometimes in the editing bay, like you just leave stuff there by mistake. You move. I think what ended up happening was since I'm dealing with such a big like block of time on the audition, um, like an hour and a half or even 2 hours long. The intro is a very small part of that. To really see it, you have to like really zoom in to see the intro and to see it on the timeline. And what ends up happening is that I throw in the intro. I put in the intro after I'm done editing everything,
Mhm.
which I think increases the likelihood of error that I'm gonna forget to now have all of these blocks of audio where I have edits and cuts and trims and stuff like that, and move it against the end of the intro. That's what happened last time. Because I chopped up the intro and there was like 20 seconds in between, so that's what happened there. I'll
Yeah.
make sure that doesn't happen again. Yeah, my sister was very eagle-eared, and that was the first thing she told me. She's like, "Hey, by the way, there's a patch of dead air after the intro," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know."
See, that's what siblings are for, is to be very brutally honest with you and like point out things. Because even me, I was I was like, he intended to. I don't know. Like I just had in my head that like it was intentional. And I was gonna like ask you about it, but like I feel like that's like the role of siblings, is to be like, hey, you left 15 seconds in on whatever.
Yeah.
But I
Oh,
mean,
by the
like,
way, the episode sucks too.
yeah. I think it's funny that both of our siblings are listening to this podcast. But I mean, honestly, besides that, like like obviously that was like 15 seconds, like it was like not a huge deal. But besides that, like I feel like I and like other people who have like been reviewing the podcast, like and have been talking to me, like I feel like that you've done like an extraordinary job, just like
Aw.
getting the cuts together. Like I know nothing about that, and I know that like you just kind of recently started getting into audition, right?
Yeah, so I had used Audition before. This in many ways this is not my first rodeo doing
Hmm.
stuff like this. I have been doing stuff like this off and on since high school.
Hmm.
This of course is the longest form that I've done it, the most
Hmm.
like consistent head on. Like I have done a podcast before this, but Trending Left was a lot more forgiving with the cuts and everything. than this one is. This one I'm a lot more discriminatory. I'm doing a lot more work, like cleaning up both of our audios. I'm cleaning up vocal fillers. I'm trying to I'm like cutting out pauses in between our speech. I'm doing a whole lot of stuff that I didn't do before, and I appreciate that people seem to think that it's edited well, aside from a few hiccups. It is the first time that I learn about a lot of like the batch processing on Adobe Audition. So it was good. It was good for me to learn all that stuff. All of that stuff is really important for the show to be as loud as it is. Trending Left had a real loudness problem that I couldn't figure out how to surpass. This one, I think, I'm hoping that people think that it's loud enough. That way, when they play it, they don't have to turn the volume up on their phone to the max, and it still might be too quiet. That's a really big problem. Trending Left had that problem, and again, I couldn't fix it because I just didn't know what I was doing in that respect. But in this case, I don't think we've had that issue, which is really good. I think to me that's a sign of a well produced podcast. I do my best with the editing, so I appreciate the very kind words.
And this is like, looking at Adobe programs that like this has got to be like your like sixth or
it is. No, it is not.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm counting them on my hands. The ones I know,
Oh gosh, you are extremely kind. If we're being generous, this might be only the second one that I know pretty well.
Really?
If we're being generous, yeah. So it's Illustrator.
I mean, I know you know that one. Just
yeah,
like
yeah. Well, yeah. I know enough. I know enough. Illustrator, Audition. I would say it's probably my second most proficient. My third most proficient is probably Premiere.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not super familiar with it, but I know from what I've used it for, it's pretty similar to what I already know about it. So I think I could make, again, like, this is like the test I always tell people, like, when you're moving to a new platform, think of your best work, your best product, and if you can make that product again on that new platform, then you've kind of learned enough on that new platform to keep going with it. Before I used Illustrator, I was using Inkscape, which is a free open source vector graphics program, and I had some really good work on Inkscape. And when I switched to Illustrator, when I realized that I was as comfortable with Illustrator as I was with Inkscape, is when I realized that I could remake my best work on Illustrator that I did on Inkscape. So it's the same kind of thing with Premiere. I think I could do my best video work again on Premiere instead of my usual video editing program of choice, which is Sony Movie Studio, which doesn't really exist anymore. It's been bought out by another company, but we can talk how sad I am about the death of Sony Vegas another day. But yeah, so it's Premiere, and then there's a big gap, and it's like maybe Photoshop. I think Photoshop might be the one I know the fourth best, but after that, it's complete. There's nothing there. It's a wasteland.
That's probably the first one that I probably know better than you, but I know Illustrator and Premiere and all that way better than I do. I think it's interesting. I think it's really fascinating to hear you talk about that, because I feel like everyone has, anyone who's like a creator on any sort of program, whether it be like we've been talking about audio editing, graphic editing, all of that. Like everyone has their own process of like learning a new program, and I think it's just like super fascinating, especially when like you and I have we've kind of gotten to a point where we're adding programs to our knowledge. It's just like so fascinating to just. I feel like everyone has a process of how they jump into it, and it sounds like you kind of like ease into it with like building upon what you know. And I know some people, maybe this might be like I'm on more of this side of the spectrum where I'll go into it like pretty dry, like my first like editing software or whatever, and then like I'll just like see something and I'll just like start recreating it, and like I'll kind of work backwards from like I know where I want to be, and then just trying to do that, because working backwards like that, like doing like trace images on Illustrator and doing seeing like photos that I see, and trying to recreate my own version of them. That's kind of how I learned those programs. So I think it's super fascinating, just those from the top down or like bottom up kind of views of like how you learn these softwares. But yeah, that's super fascinating.
That's exactly what I recommend to people. I mean, you hit the nail right on the head with that. When I was first starting to use Inkscape, the big thing that I wanted to know how to do was to vectorize an image, which I think you kind of mentioned it, like an image trace. So
Yeah.
you get for those of you that maybe don't know what intuitively that means, is you get an image, like a photo of something, and to vectorize the program converts the image into lines and shapes and stuff. And that is now like a path that you can make bigger or smaller or whatever, and you can edit it and kind of think of like the kind of like the Obama Hope poster is kind of what I'm talking about with that, because you can make it all different colors and stuff. And that was the first thing that I ever wanted to do with the program, and I had never used the program before. But even though I had prior knowledge of other programs that would help me learn how to use this one. And if you just Google around for it, maybe watch a YouTube tutorial or something, you can be on your way and doing great things that you don't need to enroll in like a master class or something like that. You can just learn it on your own. So that's you got to have that solid like digital foundation. I think that's really important as well. So we got some interesting like demographic stuff to talk about here with the show. I have not looked at the analytics. So okay, well, so today's the 23rd. I'm hoping that we can get this up tomorrow. I should not be saying stuff like that. I shouldn't say. I said it last time, and I was a day late last time as well.
Hey, that's not bad. I mean, when the bar is first set,
the bar is pretty
September to December, then when it's Friday to Saturday, that bar is not as that bar is not as
our improvement has been exponential in that regard, which is true. Yeah, so it should be said that we really wanted to record actually 2 episodes last week, so we could like stagger the release. But the trouble was I got sick. I got like a stomach bug, like really tough food poisoning. Most people get over food poisoning in a day or two, and it took me like a week to really get back to normal. And even then, like right now, I am not all the way back to normal yet. I'm not like hungry at the times I'm usually hungry. I don't have the same kind of like cravings that I did before. I don't know what's going on in my body and my stomach. But for the past week, before this week, I felt awful, had fatigue, I had gastrointestinal issues and stuff like that. Complete loss of appetite. We thought it was COVID for a little bit, but luckily I got a COVID test last week, and apart from it being like the worst test I've ever taken, the worst medical anything I've ever done, I tested negative for COVID, and I tested negative for the flu, which was good. Not good for me because it is good that I was negative for both, but what that meant was we didn't really know what I had, but it looks like I've recovered somewhat naturally from it. So luckily there's no need for because my doctor thought maybe antibiotics would be the next step, but it looks like I'm not going to be needing anything like that. I have bounced back from it naturally, as it were, with healing crystals and stuff like that. You know how I am,
yeah, exactly. I think that's I think that's really, I'm glad that you're feeling better for sure, but that's food poisoning, man. That can really knock you out for like a long time.
It was really weird because I had something similar like late last year, but it only knocked me out for like a day and a half. This was really the better part of a week where I just horrible fatigue and just bad feelings and barely eating anything. I lost 8 pounds last week, which can't be good. Yeah, not good.
That's crazy. In 1 week, 7 days. That's crazy.
Yeah. It was pretty rough. Like I said, so like even today, I am not like all the way 100% with like my appetite or my just my usual like eating schedule. I'm eating lately, which is good. That was a really big problem last week. I wasn't eating that much because I just didn't want to eat. I wasn't hungry.
Yeah.
but I am sort of like reminding myself I should probably eat something. I should eat something right now. It's dinner time. I'm not really all the way hungry like I used to be before this, so I
Mm.
don't know what's going on with that. Hopefully, it's just something that comes back gradually.
Man, that sounds horrible. I've never really gotten food poisoning like that. Like I've gotten like sick, like just very momentarily, like feeling bad after. But man, I know you're never gonna go to wherever you got that food
Well,
from.
I mean, it could have been anything. I mean,
Yeah.
I looked into it, and you can get food poisoning like up to a week, a month after you eat something. So
Wow.
it could be, honestly, at this point, it could be anything. There's no point in like making this like a lesson or anything, because like I have no idea what it could have been.
That's interesting because I feel like in any portrayal, especially like on like media or whatever, of food poisoning, it's always like they gave me food poisoning. It's always like very
Yeah,
like I know like like I feel like people like to blame people for their problems maybe a little bit.
yeah,
But yeah, I had no idea. I thought it was just like because whenever I've gotten a bad feeling, it's always been like right after I've eaten horribly.
yeah.
But yeah, that I was talking to someone this week, and they said, like I was like, yeah, this, like food poisoning. I'm like that's like crazy. And they said like, yeah, that sounds horrible. I've only ever had food poison. I've only ever lied about having food poisoning to get out of doing things. I've never actually had food poisoning. So I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm glad that yeah, I'm glad that you're feeling
No, I,
better because
I definitely didn't lie about having it.
I
Why
know
would I
no
have lied? Yeah, I
I know
really wanted.
our one engagement like this week is like doing the podcast. It's like no, I'm not doing it because I've got food poisoning, quote unquote. No. We are
I
very excited to be back for episode 3, our Christmas
four,
episode,
four.
episode 4. Oh my god,
Yeah, yeah. Episode 4. So
4 of
so
these bad boys,
so
and
I
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever you celebrate.
Exactly, happy
Um,
holidays.
I definitely want to get on this though, because I didn't look at the demographics or our
Mm,
listening trends or our analytics or anything. Pretty much
mm,
all last week. I kind of wanted to see what. Well, I wanted to look at it right before we recorded. So
mm.
and I did, and we now have 12 followers, which is cool.
A
Yeah, it's pretty. That's up. That's solid up. What I'm surprised at what I'm seeing is, people in general are like starting an episode, like they're still listening, like they're still starting an episode. In the past week, they're still, listening for more than a minute, which is
I mean,
solid.
if you have to wait 15 seconds for the episode to start, then
Yeah, yeah,
I'm just playing. I'm
yeah.
just playing.
Okay, okay. Um, so that what I mean by that is that we haven't done like any promo or anything like in the
Mm.
last week, like since we released episode 3. So that says that either like our friends and family are still kind of like having a listen. Maybe they didn't listen to it at the start. Now they're listening now. Um, or I don't know. Maybe we're being promoted by Spotify. Probably not, but
Yeah.
I would like to hope so. But here's an interesting thing that we have a demographic that has swung around, because when we were looking at the analytics for episode 3, we had an overwhelmingly male audience, and now it seems that we have a majority female audience, which is pretty cool. 56% women, 44% male. And 0% non-specified or non-binary. I think you'd have to like have that toggled on your Spotify for
Mhm.
that to show up. But as far as we know, it's about 55-45 women men split, which not what I would have expected.
Not what I expect either. Especially that switch. That I wonder what the swing, where that swing came from. But yeah, I mean that's I think that's I like that that's a pretty even split. And I feel like the topics that we have are pretty general that I think that a lot of people can kind of get on board.
Yeah,
Talking about everything from hillbilly elegy to folklore. I think that's a lot of people like. Those are pretty broad topics. So I'm really
yeah,
glad to hear that too. That's awesome.
yeah. And the feedback has been pretty solid, I
Hmm.
think, as well. I don't have a whole lot of new feedback from the last time. I know that you were hinting that you had a little bit of new feedback since episode 3.
Yeah. So just a little bit of feedback, and I think this is really interesting from the standpoint that I've gotten some kind of back and forth feedback. And by what I mean is some people having said one thing and some people having said an opposing thing, like about the same thing. So
Let's hear it.
if you're a wrong fit vet, if you've been,
a wrong fit stan, okay?
wrong fit, if you're a stan of the podcast and you've been following us through this, now 4-episode journey.
If you've been following us from the beginning,
from
okay?
OG.
OG, the wrong fit listener. Well, and don't worry, we'll come up with a fan community audience name soon.
We'll come with something snappy. So we've had different, very different structured episodes, like since the beginning, like very slightly, I think, but noticeably different. And I think that's interesting because and I've heard feedback from different people that some people like one structure better and the other, and I think it's really interesting just to hear from the people and what their thought process is and what their reasoning behind that. And an example of that would be, basically what I'm talking about is the structure of. So our first episode was obviously the longest, right? Like 2 hours. I got some feedback from people that was a little bit too long for them, and I think since then we've been cutting it down to 90-ish minutes, which I think is a good place to be. But what I've been hearing from people is that even for the episode 2 and episode 3, which are around the same runtime, they were different. Like I don't even think this was conscious when we were recording. Like I don't know if maybe tell me if I'm wrong, but when I remember recording, I don't remember this being a conscious decision that we're going to change it up. But episode 2 and episode 1, but that's different because it was a longer episode. There was much more topics discussed for a shorter period of time. And then in episode 3, we talked, or at least our listeners' feedback said that it felt like we talked about fewer topics for a longer period of time. And I thought it was very interesting because some people really liked that first format, and some people I talked to really liked that second format. And that was it was not until they had pointed out that I had noticed, like, oh yeah, we did talk about a lot more topics in episodes 1 and 2 as opposed to episode 3 where we talked at length about some topics. And I heard from some people that were like, even before episode 3 dropped, one of my friends was encouraging me to talk about zero in more on like only talking about a couple of topics. So getting those optimize, kind of like search engine optimizing, title that's snappy and gets people's attention. Like, oh, we're talking about F1 in this episode, and like, oh, I'm interested in F1, I'll talk about that, or I'll watch this episode. But some people were saying that side, and they really liked in episode 3 where we started talking about, we only had a few really solid discussions about a few topics. But interestingly enough, some people said the exact opposite, that they really liked just us bouncing around a little bit, giving like short little takes, little tidbits about several topics. So I just think that's interesting. I don't even know what we do with that information, but I just think that's interesting that different things for different people,
That's really interesting because episode 3 was longer than obviously the final version. I cut out a good deal of episode 3. There were at least 2 topics that we discussed to varying extents that in the end I just decided to cut completely because it wasn't, they were not that interesting. Yeah, I mean sometimes that happens, right? I think it's really important to, when we do like a set of topics, that we do it well, and that we're not boring the listener, and that when we say something, we lay something out, that we say something that is interesting, and that either reveals more about ourselves or about our relationship or our friendship or what have you, or our other interpersonal relationships. Something interesting that the audience can like latch onto. I think that's what we're getting better at. Yes. And the first episode was real gauntlet style. I mean, we had a whole lot of ideas and we tried to hit on a lot of them because it was the first episode. We didn't know what exactly was going to hit. I wasn't as discriminating editing episode 1, so I left a lot more, and I ended up only cutting 1 or 2 segments out of episode 1, But if you listen to it, I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff that we're talking about. If it
Mhm.
were me today, I might cut episode 1 even further.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
might have cut out some of the stuff that in the end, when I listen to it, it's not that interesting. But hey, to other people, it is interesting to
Mm.
get our take on something.
It's very
I
subjective.
Yeah, I think we can't go wrong just doing what we're doing.
Yes.
When
Yeah.
we discuss it, we are deciding, hey, it can be a long discussion, it can be a short discussion, and we'll move on, or we'll stop ourselves and say, hey, this wasn't that interesting, let's move on to something else. I think what helps too is that so far each episode has been grounded in there has been like a tent pole around one particular like media thing that we've
Yes.
been talking
Yeah.
about. We did folklore, and then we did folklore follow up, and then last time around we did hillbilly elegy, and this time we're gonna do um, evermore later down the road. So I
Yeah.
think that is helpful too, because it gives us something both to look forward to, that we know for sure is going to stay in the episode. We know that we're going to talk about it for 40 minutes, maybe even the full hour, and that if there's something after that, it can be just little stuff that we kind of that we attach to this anchor. I
Mm.
don't think that may not be the case for every episode from here on out. There may not be anything that we care to talk about in terms of movies or music or something, but I think early on it's been really helpful for us, because it's a big thing that can take up a lot of time, and I think it's something that resonates with folks too, especially if it's
Yes.
something really popular and kind of zeitgeisty. What do you got here? Fried chicken debate, top
Yes.
places and
That.
why. I want to know where this came from.
All right. Well, I think that the answer to where it came from is a lot simpler than the answer, like the short answer where it came from was I was having fried chicken,
Mm.
and I'm going to I'm going to go through a couple places, but this particular one was from Popeyes, which I think that I don't know about your experience with Popeyes, but with me and my friends and the people I talk to about Popeyes, there's that it's a divisive subject. Like some people are big
Mm.
Popeyes. I'm on board with Popeyes, but some people are really like anti. Some people treat Popeyes like it's just like trash and like garbage meat. But I love Popeyes, and just like that, just eating Popeyes. It's the least interesting story for why something is on our topic sheet ever, but literally just me just picking up some drive-through. And so I picked it up, and I was just, I just think it's fascinating that just some people like it, some people don't. And I was gonna see if we could create a wrong fit top fits
Ooh,
of fried chicken, a
like a
definitive
tier
list,
list.
a tier list.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, I'm on the show notes document talking about this. So
All
okay,
right.
let's set the stage, right? We're talking about like bone in, juicy, big hunkin' fried chicken, right? We're not talking about little baby nuggets or tenders for little babies, right? We're talking about like bone in fried chicken.
I think we just started a whole new debate because
Oh no, Eli, no, don't.
what do you get when you go to Popeyes? What do you get? I mean, I don't
Uh,
know how much you go to Popeyes or like what you like, but like just
yeah,
point
yeah.
blank, what do you get
When
at
it was like
Popeyes?
the big sandwich craze, I would have gotten a sandwich. But when I think of, you say your favorite fried chicken place, I'm talking about judging it on the merits of like a bone-in chicken breast, a bone-in thigh, a drumstick, the wing with the thing attached to it. That's what I'm talking about.
With
Like
the
like
whole thing attached to it, yeah.
if I want to talk about chicken nuggets, we'll talk about chicken nuggets, right? But we're talking like, you asked me, you come here to this Zoom call on the day before Christmas, and you ask me about fried chicken, and I hear that you're talking about sandwiches and little nuggets for little babies.
Is Cane's fried chicken? Like is that or is that not fried chicken to you?
It is. It's not fried chicken in the sense of like, what most people mean when they say fried chicken, right?
We're just
Like,
gonna have to create two different lists, man, because
okay,
we can't even.
this is
I
kind
knew
of.
that this list was gonna be controversial, and I knew that we
Th-
were gonna have
I
some.
think it's already too divisive
I know.
because here's the impression I'm getting. The impression I'm getting is that when you go to a fried chicken joint, you ask. You're eating like dino nuggies and mac and cheese,
All
and
right, all right, all
you're
right.
just sitting there with your little beanie with the little rudders on top,
Yeah, it's like my fifth birthday party, just going out to Popeyes. Hey, they don't even have a play place there, man. You got to go across the street to the McDonald's.
They don't.
Lamest birthday party ever.
I'm just saying. I think it's the sign of someone who's mature that when they go to a fried chicken joint, they eat what like they're known for, which is going to be their bone-in stuff, right? You go there and you order a bunch of tenders. I mean, that tells me that you're kind of a child.
All right, all right. We get it. You're older than me. We get it. We get it.
Nothing to do with that.
Older and wiser, I guess. But like, so I think it's gonna be like difficult. I think that there's like I know. Like at Popeyes, I usually get the sandwich across the board, and before that, I would actually get, like the child that I am, I would get the tenders.
Little meal for babies. Yeah,
I would get
right.
the spicy tenders too. I don't know if that's.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't know if that maybe age. I'm no longer a child. I'm now a preteen. Maybe
you're a preteen. Yeah, you ordered spice.
Yeah.
So I didn't finish answering your question. So
Okay.
when it was the sandwich craze, I would get the sandwich because the sandwich is really
it's
quite
so
good.
so solid.
Yeah, it's solid. I mean, there's definitely room for discussion of chicken sandwiches. I mean, they are not created equal. We can get to that. But ordinarily, when I go to a fried chicken joint, it's like, I'll probably get something like a breast and a thigh, or two breasts, or a thigh and a drumstick, or something like that. Like, that's what I'm there for. I'm there for the bone-in stuff, because that's like what fried chicken is, right? And if you go to like if you go to like Nashville and you're there to eat like some authentic like Nashville hot chicken, I think you're doing yourself a disservice getting what is just basically just like ground chicken breast, and that's breaded and fried and in little bolitas, and that's what you eat. Like that you're doing yourself such a disservice. I mean, not only are you insulting, the city that you're in, Nashville or wherever, where they're known for their fried chicken, right?
You come to my city and you
you're just insulting yourself. That's me though. I mean, I know that there are people that violently disagree with me. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. But I mean, it's just, I don't know. That's where I'm at with that. We need to maybe before we continue and go down a path that maybe our friendship will not be able to withstand.
I think it's hilarious that this is the first contentious. Like, I feel like we had generally the same opinion on a hillbilly elegy, generally the same opinion on folklore. We'll see about Evermore later in the show, but we've generally had the same opinions on this stuff. But this is the first thing where it's like, I feel like it's throwdown time. I'll see if the show can survive it, honestly.
Okay. Well, if the show survives, we'll be contingent on this, right?
Okay.
Like, okay, now let's talk about chicken wings, right?
Okay, that was going to be my exact next question.
Okay, I mean, I have people that will tell me, they'll swear up and down, and they're not even joking, and I wish that they were.
Okay.
That, like, quote unquote, and I put that in quotes, that quote unquote boneless chicken wings are better than real, actual, crispy, skin on, bone in wings that are actual. Like, that's what a wing is. A boneless chicken wing is just a chicken nugget. You're telling me that that's better? You have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, I'm about to tell you something that I think you're probably gonna like even less. So get your ears ready.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I think I might actually turn off the microphone and just leave.
Oh no.
No, tell me. No, tell me.
So I pretend like this is like probably outing myself to a lot of people who
are watching
this. I pretend to care. I pretend to like, bone in so much better.
No, you don't have to. You don't even
care.
have to. No. You don't even have to like be as passionate as I am.
Okay.
All you have to do to still be my friend is to acknowledge that like the experiences are so different as to
Okay.
be incomparable, and that like it's a false comparison. People are always saying like boneless or bone in for chicken wing for chicken wings. I put that in quotes because boneless chicken wings don't exist. It's
All right.
just chicken nuggets. That's all it is. Um, that's a false comparison
See,
because the chicken wing is like such a different animal, to a chicken nugget. They're so different, like you can't.
but I feel like I'm telling you the exact opposite. Like I'm telling you that I don't like I don't care. Like I'll eat either. Like I don't like the experiences
I
to
mean,
me
I'll
are the
enjoy
same.
either. I
Yeah,
enjoy
yeah.
both, but I'm just saying that like you can't compare the two. I mean,
All
they're
right.
so fundamentally different, and I mean honestly, I think pound for pound, do I want to eat 10 chicken nuggets or 10 chicken wings? I prefer wings. I mean,
Okay.
the wings are such a pleasant experience. I mean, the skin, like nice crispy skin, they're fatty, and then like you got like the rub or the sauce that you got on them, whatever you like. I have no quarrel with anybody that likes buffalo or ranch or blue cheese. I
Yeah.
don't care about any of that.
I like that.
I just
Yeah.
care about like the unifying experience of eating chicken wings. I just think if you can just sit there and tell me that boneless is better, like in that regard, that when you go to like a sports bar
Mhm.
and all the real men watching sports, drinking
Men in
beer,
sports. Ugh.
and they're eating chicken wings and you're there eating little dino nuggies because you're a child. Nah, man, it's not there for me. I can't do it.
Okay. I think we're gonna have to have three lists. This is what I've been kind of
Three
formulating.
lists.
I think we need three different lists, and I
No, I
think
think
that.
we can. I actually think we can actually have one list
Okay. What's the
because,
list? All right.
well, just the best places
Got it.
because I don't know, Eli, you're killing me. You're killing me here, man. Because for like I do have opinions like on all of the boneless stuff because I used
Mhm.
to eat boneless. Like I
Yeah.
before I got comfortable eating bone in, and I know that bone in scares people. I know that it does. Okay, I'm not. There can be weird stuff in it.
Yeah.
It's not as intuitive to eat. I get it.
Mm.
Okay, but once you like actually know your way around a bone in breast or a thigh or whatever, like the experience is just eons better.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying that's just straight up. But I do have opinions on all of the boneless varieties for all of these
Mm.
restaurants. I do, I can rank those too. But I think we need to like also rank like what they're known for, like
Got it.
just the OG like
Yeah.
bone in. Like if you go to KFC, like you get a bucket. I mean, the bucket, like the platonic ideal of the bucket is that it's filled with breasts and drumsticks and thighs and wings and stuff.
All right. So what I'm getting at is that we are going to try and compare like apples to oranges, and we're comparing like a bucket to Cane's Caniac combo to a like Wingstop 6 wing combo. Is that like what we're going to try and do? Because
I
I'm
mean,
down with that. Like I think that works.
I just think
I know how I feel.
you know how you feel.
All
Okay.
right.
Wait.
Let's get a
See,
ground
because
rules of the
I'm
places
gonna it's
too.
because I'm gonna want to like
Mm.
mainly compare their bone-in
Okay.
offering,
All right.
and if you don't have the experience with that, which I
Yeah.
know sounds like a slight. I'm not trying.
You're not experienced enough. I
I'm
will
not
like
trying.
I do really agree with you though, because like gotta learn the right way to eat it, and it is daunting to eat it with like when you've got like sauce dripping down your whatever, um, your
Sauce dripping
shirt,
down your whatever.
yeah. Maybe I should have finished that. When you got sauce dripping like down your shirt or whatever, like, and you're like at a place with people, you don't like the finger food is daunting, and like I mean I feel like you're like buffalo wings in general are a daunting thing because what if you get them too hot? I remember one time I went to like just like going to see friends, and I hadn't seen a couple of my friends like for a New Year one time, and I went to Pluckers for like one of the first times I'd been there,
Yeah.
and I got like the hot wings, and like
Oh
most
gosh.
places
No.
I know,
Yeah.
I know that now. I learned my lesson. But I was like, most places hot wings are like these are just like the normal wings that we have. But no, those boys were hot, and like it was just really embarrassing because like it was like two of my friends from from my previous major, going back from the summer, going to Pluckers and seeing them. And one of my friends, like, she was like, "Are you okay?" Because I was like almost like crying, and like I was like, "You had that like gross snot thing." So totally
Yeah.
agree with you.
The
Wings
buffalo
are
hot
difficult.
the buffalo hot at Pluckers is quite tough. I mean,
It's hot.
I always get the medium. The medium isn't hot enough, but there's no in between. That's the
Not in
problem. There needs to be
between
an
at
in
all.
between medium and hot. But yeah, again, like, if you are, I mean, just chicken skin alone, I mean, my God, I mean, it's just like incredible. I mean, I don't even
It's
like.
one of the delicacies of life, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, when you're eating it and it's like falling off and it's got like the breading and it's the skin and it's crispy, like you taste it, it tastes just like bacon. I mean, you are so missing out if you are only eating like chicken tenders or chicken nuggets, like, because that doesn't have any of that.
You're right. You're right.
You know, I mean,
That's fair. Yeah.
I mean, again, like I can compare the tenders and the nuggets from all these places. I know them all well. I can compare all of them, but I just think, like, when you're talking about fried chicken, you want, like, this is what fried chicken is, like, what it's meant to be. This is like the romantic ideal of it,
Yeah, yeah, platonic idea, like you said, like that's 100%. All right. Before we make the list, let's get some ground rules. What places are we gonna put on the list?
I don't know. I mean, you brought up
Okay.
the topic. I think it's up to you.
All right, definitely add one. If I'm missing one, then definitely hit me with it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and go for like because there's a couple of like more low key places that maybe some people may or may not have heard from.
Well, and a few of them I probably haven't been to a few of them. So there's the other thing. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll start off with the more general picks, and then I'll go with some of my deep cut fried chicken places. I'll see if you've been
fried chicken places.
If you
All right.
haven't been, let's not talk about it. But if you've been, we can add it to the list. So definitely Popeyes. That's gotta go on the list. That's gotta be ranked.
Right.
I'm not saying it's great or bad. I'm just saying it's gotta be ranked.
It's got to be there. It's got to be there. Yeah.
For me, Cane's has got to be there too. I'm sure
Okay.
you've been there. I'm sure you know it.
Yeah, I have. Yes.
Chick-fil-A too. Like I know that's
Chick-fil-A.
kind of
Okay.
I think it has to go on there just because it's so popular.
We're just talking about the food. Yeah.
We're just talking about obviously we're just talking about the food. Obviously. What's next? What
You forgot. Don't forget churches.
Church. I have been to churches. I don't go there frequently, so I'm going to be a little bit not as familiar with that. But definitely put it on there. I've been there before.
I got some churches stuff to say. I got stuff to say. Yeah.
KFC, put it on there.
KFC, yeah, hell yeah.
All right. All right. So right now we're at
5. Chicken Express.
Hearts.
Huh?
Is that are you talking about Hearts Chicken Express? I don't know. I don't know just Chicken Express.
Is that?
Maybe this is. I thought this was like a place like Hearts. I've only been there a couple times, but it's like Hearts Chicken Buffet or something like that.
Oh no,
we're not. Okay, all right, whatever.
So so you don't know Chicken Express?
I do not know Chicken Express. I've never heard of that before in my life.
Okay.
Is there one in Austin?
Yeah.
Really?
Out in the boonies, yeah.
On the movies, okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it's solid. I really like it, but if you haven't been there,
all right. I think 5's good, but let's add a couple more places. Wingstop or like.
Nah, let's leave the wing places out of it. They can't compete. They can't compete on what.
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of can, but they can. Yeah, I don't know. I think
let's keep it
not.
OG. Let's keep. Have you been to Gus's Chicken?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. We're putting Gus's on there.
Okay. Well, here we are again, right? Because like, because Gus's is one of those like local like.
It's not local. I think it's from Nashville. I think.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I have a little.
Okay, but it's not like a chain. It's not a chain like Popeyes is.
Yeah, you're right. It's not like one of those like Pepsi-owned chains or whatever.
Yeah. Gus's is
company,
like this is a place that purports to be like this is like authentic, homemade, Southern fried chicken. You know.
Yeah. Okay. It's not fast food. You're right.
But it's like, but you go to Gus's and you order some chicken tenders. I mean, that's just like you have just ruined the point. Like the whole point is to eat like the authentic, real, like bone in stuff, you know? Like that's sort of how I feel about that. Like it breaks my heart, you know, to see people just like order chicken nuggets at Gus's or something, you know, like because like I know that their real fried chicken is just so worth it. I mean, it's just incredible. It's so good.
See, I wish we were together for this. I wish I could look you in the eye and hold your hand and tell you I get tenders at Gus's.
No.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, man.
Eli, do we need to like
I need
do I
an
need to like
intermission.
walk you through? Do I need to walk you through like this is how you eat like a bone in thigh, a bone in breast?
This is how I live. Maybe I need to learn. I need some lessons. I need some fried chicken lessons next time. You know, next time we go to fried chicken, you gotta teach me. Next time
I gotta teach you. I gotta show you because look, I used to be like you. I used to be like you, lost and alone and afraid. You know, and you know, I mean, there's nothing to fear. Are you afraid of bone in? Like let's unbuckle this.
Maybe there's some sort of like, you know, deep psychological ingrained fear that I'm just repressing. I don't have any memory. The most difficult memory I have off the bat with fried chicken is that one I just told you about where I accidentally got way too hot wings.
Yeah.
I can't think of any other maybe repressed memories that are causing me to be anti-bone. You know, I generally like it's not the bone. Like I'm generally pro bone. Like I'm generally like I don't have a problem with bones in particular. Like in any food, I just typically always revert back to maybe I'm just like maybe this is it. I eat fast. I think that's probably it. Is I eat super super fast, and like everyone, like I especially when I was younger, like everyone notices it, and like everyone's like, you know, damn, he really ate fast. Like just look at that, it's gone.
I mean, there's like a chuggability aspect of boneless that you know is hard to ignore. I get it. I get that. You know, but yeah. So I think
we got a good list. I think
we got a good list. We got a list of 5 here. I think just to keep it easy, just so everyone can compete, let's just stick to their boneless offerings.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, we can talk about all of these. So,
right. Just to run down the list one more time: Popeyes, Cane's, Chick-fil-A, Church's, KFC. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, right away, I already know the number one. If we're just doing like tenders.
Yeah.
It's Cane's. It's
really?
Obviously
Okay.
Cane's. Yeah, it's obviously Cane's. Cane's is number one.
I'm trying to think. Like, I go to Popeyes more, and honestly, it's like weird because it's way more out of my way. I think and it's maybe marginally cheaper, but it's like, you know, it actually probably is a little significantly cheaper now that I think about it, especially when I get the sandwich. But if we're
all of these places are expensive. It has to be said. They are expensive.
You're right. Church's is maybe the cheapest on there, I think.
I think KFC is probably the cheapest one.
Chase's or KFC? Okay. Yeah, I agree with that. So yeah, I guess, you know, I think Cane's is the most expensive of the ones on there. So I'm going to put that, I think I'll agree with you. I'll put that number 1. I already know what my number 2 is. My number 2 for sure is Popeyes. I don't know.
Yeah, that's probably fair. That's probably fair. The breading at Popeyes is really quite good.
Yes, exactly. It adds like a thickness, you know. It adds like a nice thickness to the chicken. I really like that. And you know, like if we're talking boneless again, like I always be talking boneless. Their sauces are actually pretty good at Popeyes as well. And when you get that the sandwich, I know we're not talking sandwiches, but you got to talk about it when you're talking about Popeyes. Like, man, the sauce they put on that sandwich is premium.
It's to die for. Yeah.
Premium. Okay, so we got consensus on number 1 and 2, which I think is awesome. Cane's is number 1, Popeyes number 2.
I think Church's should be number 3.
Church's number 3. Okay.
Go ahead.
I would put KFC number 3 for me.
I actually would, for their boneless stuff, I would put KFC last. Actually,
really?
Yeah, I don't think it's as good.
I guess like I'm looking back on it, and I don't go to KFC a ton, but maybe I've only had their bone-in stuff, which is just weird for me because, you know, I'm the bone-in boy or bone-out boy.
Bone-out boy.
That sounds way worse when you say it like that.
Yeah.
I like with KFC, I always get the bone in, so maybe I'm not doing a good my due diligence in comparison. But yeah, I think I'd still, knowing all that I know about KFC, I'd still put it 3.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah,
But okay, so that's our first deviation is churches, but
yeah,
I would put churches 4 after KFC.
yeah. Okay, so Chick-fil-A last for you.
Chick-fil-A lasts for me. I don't.
Okay.
It's good. It's very different than the other ones, right? Like very different breading, I think. And their sauces are great too. Maybe it would be different if I was taking more into account the sauces, which I am.
What I like about the Chick-fil-A breading is like the and this is weird because I don't like pickles, but I like the pickly brine flavor that they all have. Yeah.
I like pickles and I like that rind, but to me it's just not enough in my opinion. Maybe it would be higher up when we're looking sandwich to sandwich because I've never had the cane sandwich before.
I've never had it either.
I've never had any desire to.
I mean, there's just no
either.
point. I mean, you got to have. Yeah, no, it's all about the fingers. So here's my history with these chains. So Cane's I have not eaten at in 2.5 years. I last ate there in May 2018 because I've got like a pledge with a buddy of mine that we're not going to eat there. At the very least, that we weren't going to eat there for the rest of our college days, and I've fulfilled that.
That's good. Yeah.
We ate there way too often. It was a really big problem. It became like a symbol of like the negative aspects of our lives. Because there was a lot of like late nights eating Cane's and just wasting money and eating awful food. And by awful, I mean just awful for you.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Cane's is really, really good.
Yeah.
Really, really, really good. So that's why I haven't eaten there since May 2 years ago.
And it's interesting you put it on the top of the list too. Like is it?
I mean, it's solid.
Fruit kind of thing?
I mean, it's solid.
Yeah.
I mean, every time I would go by there, I can smell it. I haven't had cane sauce in so long, but yet it's been a long time, and yet like I know instinctively how it tastes, how it all tastes. You know what I mean? Like it,
especially when you've had it, like you said, like you had it a lot. Like that lingers with you. That stays with you. Yeah, it's awesome.
I mean, I'm sure I'll eat there at some point again, but I mean, I kind of have like a streak going, so I might as well just continue it, for as long as I want to. We actually just got a Cane's in Laredo, which was cool.
Ooh.
It was a really big deal. Yeah, I mean, it's really popular. I mean, even though we never had one, it's like really popular among like people my age. So they're getting good business right now.
Nice. Yeah. And fast food, like drive through, that makes it easier during the pandemic too.
Yeah, for sure. Churches is interesting because churches help pay for my schooling. I got a $1,000 scholarship from churches.
Shout out to churches. That's awesome.
Shout out churches. And the thing that churches gave me, and here's where I kind of got more weaned onto the bone-in food, because churches, they gave me a scholarship. They also gave me a card that let me redeem a free leg and thigh with a biscuit every week for a year. That ended summer 2017, so it was my whole freshman year. I had that card. I ate a lot of fried chicken freshman year. There's no churches like nearby the UT or anything, so I would bus there a lot. Have my uncle take me, or my a couple of my buddies go to churches, and we would just eat there. So that is where I was eating a lot of like bone-in fried chicken, getting used to it, like knowing like what's edible, what's not.
That's what you came up on churches. I respect
that.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah. So I
respect the grind.
Whenever churches comes up, I gotta like defend them, because like there's a lot of slander on churches, and if we're bringing back in like the bone-in discussion, churches bone-in is solid. I mean, it's thick, the skin tastes really good, like their breading is really good. I think their bone-in stuff is better than Popeyes' bone-in stuff. I like them both. I prefer churches. Popeyes can be... I always have a problem getting really small, like, breasts at Popeyes, and you really want, like, really big ones, because you want
big ones.
Big ones, yeah.
Yeah.
But, so that's my thing with churches and with Cane's. All right, so we're here again, about to discuss a new Taylor Swift album.
Here
How,
again. Once here, we're here. We're here.
we're here.
I was gonna say something, but we're here. That you summed it up quite perfectly.
So Taylor Swift, not content to simply bless us with one surprise album this year, she released a new record, Evermore, on like a week ago, on December 11th of this year, 2020. It was another like surprise drop. It was the day of, and she said, "Hey guys, it's Taylor Swift. I'm gonna release a new album." That's how she sounds. That's exactly what she said. Don't quote me. Don't go looking for that. That's exactly what she said. And yeah, it came out, and it was super crazy successful, like all of her albums are, and lots of chart success. It was number one. I think got another number one single off of that. So I mean, hey, I'm not gonna hate the player, right? She is killing it this year in her own way. And yeah, 2 records in 1 year. Would you have expected that?
No, I mean, I think that's what I think is so cool is because I mean that is prolific in and of itself. Like to have to just be on your grind for like that.
Yeah.
So I definitely respect that. I definitely respect where she's coming from with that. Like I think it's so cool to have 2 albums in 1 year. Like just genuinely impressive.
Yeah.
And they're very similar, right? For a plethora of reasons why they're very similar. But I guess we're about to get into it. But I thought they still had some like very like unique differences to the point where I definitely think that just to give my my thesis opinion or my primary opinion is I definitely liked Evermore better than Folklore, which is I think is really interesting because I found that to kind of go against the consensus opinion that I've been seeing everywhere.
How do you mean? People, you're seeing that people prefer Folklore to Evermore?
I've seen that from a lot of people that they found, or at least the 3 people that I talked to. I say a lot of people, like I'm really just talking to everyone. I think generally any critics that I've seen, like they've generally been rated pretty similarly. I've seen at least, but like maybe the couple of reviews I read or skimmed, maybe Folklore had a slight marginal, like edge over Evermore. I always go to Pitchfork because I'm basic.
I like Pitchfork. Yeah.
I love Pitchfork. Yeah, and I think they had Evermore slightly below Folklore, and I would definitely flip that. I definitely found Evermore to be more. I think that it to me it felt like it addressed some of the problems that we had with the album with the Folklore. In my opinion, and I think that it just felt like her and the producer that she was working with from the National, who I really like the National stuff. I think that they found a better balance between the National stuff and her stuff. So I thought that Second Time was the Charm. It was like The Empire Strikes Back. The sequel better than the original. Maybe that's its own debate, but but that's just my general consensus, my general opinion on the topic. What do you think? Just surface overview.
I thought this was just as bland and boring and completely forgettable, just like Folklore. I have like a whole thing of notes on it. We'll see how much we get into it, into the nitty gritty. So I don't like to dislike what everyone else likes. Okay. People will, I'm not a contrarian. Okay. I want, you think I don't want to be in, you think I don't want to be, all in on the cottagecore crap. Okay. You think I don't want, you think I don't, you think that I don't want to fit in. I do. Okay.
I feel like I would have a lot more happy existence if I was all in.
Yeah,
on the
I would definitely hate the cottagecore lifestyle. But I want to be in. I want to be in on the fun that everyone else is having fun with.
Yeah.
It's not fun. It's a little fun. It's a little fun to be the contrarian, but I'm not doing. But I'm not doing it on purpose. Okay. When I tell you guys that I don't like something, I'm going to tell you that I don't like it. When I like something, you're
say
gonna
it with your chest.
yeah, I'm going to tell you guys that I like it. And there are a few good aspects to this
Mm,
record that I
mm.
thought were good, but most of it just falls into this like unremarkable, like folksy piano ballad pastiche that I, honest to God, I cannot believe she can write like 30 of these songs that all sound the same and that are completely just unremarkable in almost every single way other than the ways that in which they just infuriate me,
I
right?
agree with that a bit,
Okay.
actually. Even
Okay.
though I liked it, I agree with that a bit. There were
So
some songs
what
that
did you
sounded
like
very similar.
what did you like about it that you liked more than Folklore?
What I liked about it and what we commented on folklore, and maybe I'm just in a different place with my music career. I actually have been listening more to like indie-ish stuff recently.
Mhm.
I think in general I like that a little bit more than you do.
Yeah.
But I thought that we made a comment about the instrumentals, and I think specifically about percussion elements in her song, and I thought she did a lot better on this album
Yeah,
when it came to
the
those.
production, I it
Yeah,
should be said, the production on this record was a lot better than
yeah.
Folklore. I mean, a serious improvement, but I definitely have my qualms still. But
Mhm.
a serious improvement from Folklore.
So that was my I like music that is like, I think we both like music with kind of like a strong progressive element. And that definitely, I got that from her in this record. What
Yeah,
else did I like about it?
there
I thought
there were
there's
flashes of
fun. I thought there was a
okay.
couple of fun songs. I don't know. Sorry, I
No,
didn't
you're
mean to
fine.
cut you
No.
off there.
Yeah, no, no,
But
yeah.
I thought there was a lot more fun record this time than the folklore. I just had a lot more fun listening to it. There was like obviously sad songs, and it was like it's Taylor Swift. There's like got to be sad aspects to it. But no body, no crime. Like I thought that was really like I don't know why. I just thought it was like really fun, and it's like
Hmm.
I don't know. It's kind of like, I think we talked about this a bit with folklore, is that a lot of these songs aren't intended. We're not the target audience a bit, and that's obviously okay. And I listen to a lot of music that's not really quote unquote for me, and I enjoy it a lot. But and this I think was be a prime case. But I thought that was a really fun song, and like the feature on it, Haim. I'm not super. I've heard of that group before. I'm not super familiar with them. I think it's a trio.
Yeah.
But I thought that they came together like really well. That was
Really, because I felt that they were completely just underutilized. If I wasn't, maybe I wasn't listening hard enough because I could not tell when they were supposed to be there. Were they the background vocals?
um, honestly, I don't. I remember liking that song a lot. I don't remember exactly where Haim fit into it. I remember thinking like I really like this song. So if this style is the same, as if like Haim has the
Yeah,
same style, I don't remember their voices
yeah.
specifically though.
So yeah, I'm
Um,
on the Rap Genius
okay,
for No Body No Crime, and
yeah.
it's all just like a duo chorus with Taylor,
Hmm.
and a few like passing back and forth lines on verse three. So yeah, like I could not tell when it was not Taylor Swift. So that's a note that I have here that Haim were sorely underutilized. I just know like complete waste of a feature. It could have been Taylor Swift doing another voice for all I know. I mean it yeah, I these weird like storytelling songs that she's been kind of doing, like they were on
Yeah.
folklore and they're on here too. I am going to contrast with you completely. I think
Okay.
those were by far the weakest parts of the record. Just these weird, hard to follow, out of place songs that I just
I thought it was fun on this one. I agree. I maybe I don't know why. Just the beat, the song, the
yeah.
concept.
I mean, no. I mean, you like it.
Um,
You like it. That's fine.
yeah.
I just yeah.
And I think it's interesting what you said about the features, because I would agree. And this one I don't think I loved it because of Haim. I think I loved it. I think I liked it because I just liked it. But I would agree with you with the features on the other songs, which I don't know if you remember from our folklore discussion. I think we had both said that, or at least I remember I felt that I really liked the Bon Iver song. I don't even remember what the song was now, but
Exile. Yeah.
Exile. Yeah, I really
Yeah.
like that one. I think a lot of people like that one. And
You're
but
gonna be you'll be interested to know that I thought my favorite part of the record was
Hmm.
the Bon Iver part on the end
Really?
of in the middle of the closer on this record.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that
Yeah.
that was my favorite part. I'm not saying that like I loved it or anything, but that to me felt like the most sonically interesting part of the entire album.
Interesting. I
Yeah,
thought so. I thought I liked the song. I liked Exile better than this song, and I think it's interesting because I agree with you. I really love Bon Iver's voice, and I really love the National. What's his name? Dresner.
yeah,
Uh,
something like that.
something like that. Yeah, I love his voice. I love the National independently. I love Bon Iver independently. I think it's really cool seeing their influence on these two projects. But I would have level probably the same criticism. Not that like I could. It's not like in the same with the Haim where it's like I don't know where her voice starts and like where
Yeah,
their voices ends. But I like it's very obvious. Like Bon
yeah,
Iver and they have very distinct voices. But I didn't think that they were super necessary to completing the song on both
yeah.
those
No,
songs. I thought they could have done without them.
yeah,
And I thought
yeah.
in Exile and the previous album, the features on the album, I thought that they were more integral to the album.
Yeah, I mean, on both of the Bon Iver and the National, like, I liked Bon Iver's part,
Hmm.
but both of those artists that I mentioned are just really weirdly out of place on
Yeah,
both of
yeah.
those tracks. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is. Taylor Swift's features to me have not been integrated well at all. I mean, this is a problem even before Folklore. I have found her
Hmm.
features to be just completely poorly integrated. I don't know why she doesn't, um, do what she did in 1989 and give us another record where it's just her. Because I mean, say what
Yeah.
I say what I want about how much I really have disliked her output since
Hmm.
1989. But I mean,
Yeah, it's your.
she knows how to put together a record. I mean,
Hmm.
it's I'm far be it for me to dispute that, even if I don't like the songs. I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure I talked about the song Dorothea.
Yeah.
Does that stick out in your mind?
That sticked out as me. I think that was. I really liked Willow. That was that was the one that like that I saw get like very popular, lots of streams.
Yeah.
But Dorothy, like that song, Dorothea. I think that was my second favorite song, the Dorothy song.
Oh my
That
God,
yeah.
Eli, you're killing me, man. Because I'm about to
Really?
tear it to shreds. Yeah.
Oh no, man! I liked it. I
Just
don't know. It was easy to listen to. It was really fun to listen. That was a more positive note. I felt like than some of the other songs on the album.
okay. Okay.
And I like that. But yeah, oh man, you're killing me. I'm
I
killing you, and
really
you're killing me.
no, and I don't want to be. Um I mean, I think from what you're saying, I mean, this record didn't blow you away or anything, but you clearly liked it
No.
just way more than I did, and I feel so bad
Yeah.
just coming in and saying,
No. It's that's what the point of it. We gotta
yeah.
keep some.
When I first heard Dorothea, I was struck at what I felt to be like she was like Taylor Swift was singing over like a free public domain like
Oh man.
instrumentation track. It is the most generic sounding instrumentation I have ever heard on a Taylor Swift record, on
Oh
any pop
man.
record. I found it to be so unbelievably generic. Nothing interesting about the production, which is fine. I mean, not production doesn't always have to be
Oh
interesting.
man.
That is what I felt. And some of her vocal melodies that she's doing sound like a joke. I mean,
Really.
like in particular, I'm talking about one particular thing. The on the hook where she's going like woo or
I
something
like
like that.
that. It's
That
positive.
sounds
It's
like a
it's
joke.
poppy.
That
It's
sounds like
it's-
she's just like just messing around. It sounds like she's not
That's
even
pop
taking it
music,
seriously.
man.
Hate
Those
it.
woos. Oh
Hate
man.
it. Hate it. Hate it. It sounds like she's not even taking it seriously. And I know that the trouble is I know that she is, which
Yeah,
kind of makes it hard to
She
stomach.
always takes it seriously. That's
Yeah.
just one thing. I've had mixed opinion about Taylor Swift in the past, but I think that's one thing. Like I always have to say is that she's really trying. Like she's really doing it. Like she's doing what she wants to do.
Which is
putting
great.
a lot of effort into it.
Yeah, I mean, all of that is great to know, about your singer songwriter, but
yeah.
but to me, it kind of it hurts because it's like
Mm.
this is you trying, like that, like the title of the song on Folklore.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but this is really you trying. I don't believe it, but
Got it, got it.
yeah, no, I'm sorry.
That is a good reference.
Hate,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I think the Swifties. I think that'll get them on my side. Just keep referencing that. Yeah. Awful, just awful, weird vocal. I yeah. These I didn't like Folklore.
Hmm.
I'm on the record. Really didn't like it. But I think Folklore's songwriting was so much better than
Hmm.
what's here on Evermore. Here on Evermore, there is not a single song, not a single subject matter made my ears perk up and listen closely. Like it
All
did
right.
happen a few times on Folklore. On Folklore,
Really? I thought nobody knew like the narrative in that. I thought that kind of piqued my
yeah,
interest. I
that
thought.
was probably the when I say strongest, I mean that was probably the
Yeah.
part where I was more interested. But on Folklore, there were more than a few occasions where I was like, oh, these are really interesting, like solid personal lyrics.
Anecdote. Yeah.
Yeah, that are just not present here on
Hmm.
Evermore like they were on Folklore.
I think with this like folksy indie music, they're like obviously Taylor Swift has always been a storyteller, right?
Yeah.
And I think with this indie folksy music, that is kind of part of the genre. Is telling a story, and I think it's interesting. Yeah, like I think I would probably agree with you in general. I liked the narrative in Nobody No Crime, but yeah, I think generally there was a lack of. I thought "Tis the Damn Season." Um, I thought that was a good story as well. I
Yeah.
felt like that was a good. I was there, like I was sad. I was longing.
Hmm, hmm,
I was
hmm.
longing. That's such an interesting. But I was like I got where she was.
Yeah,
Um,
you're feeling the way she wants you to feel.
yeah, maybe I'm just I don't know what it is. I don't know
My
why
trouble
this.
my trouble is that I just can't. I can't feel what this record wants me to
I
feel.
can't feel.
I can't. It's I'm sorry. It trips me up. It again. What the trouble is that it's so unremarkable. The
Hmm.
production is so unremarkable throughout most of it. But there were a few bright spots. At the very end or close to the end of the record. Long story short,
Mhm.
that song stands out like an oasis just because the
Oh yeah.
production tries something a little different. If you
Oh
remember,
yeah.
it's kind of got these kind of like drums that are kind of these like snares that are
I
kind
like
of
that a lot. Yeah, I remember
yeah.
which one
I
now.
mean, it caught my attention because
Yeah.
it was so stylistically different from the rest of what I was
Hmm.
listening to. The other aspects of the song, I couldn't tell you anything about them. The lyrics again were probably just the same sort of claptrap that we've been served for the past year from Taylor. But
It's
the product,
some of the melodies felt very similar as well. Like it
yeah.
felt like a very copied like
Well,
throughout a
that
couple
has
songs.
been some of the few like music critic criticisms
Mm,
that have been levied against her. That the
mm,
melodies have
mm,
been very samey.
mm,
Even on positive reviews of the album, they say like this is sort of the same. She's doing a lot of the same things vocally. But
mm,
yeah,
mm.
long story short, just the production alone stands out like an oasis because from what we've got is just mainly like piano ballads, but this has a like almost an element of like hip hop production to a
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
It was weird. Um, and also the same can be said about the track on Closure with I think Closure has Bon Iver. I'm just pulling up the record right
Yes.
now.
Oh no, no. The concluding song had
Okay, okay, yeah. So
monitor. Yeah,
Closure is the second to last song,
yeah.
and yeah, the production. See, the production stood out again, but in a worse way. Like I don't know what these vocals and these lyrics are doing on that kind of production. It was the weirdest, most out of place thing.
Yeah.
Whereas a long story short, I felt like it was okay. Well, this is just like something different. On Closure, it was something just completely like out of place, out of
Out of left
tone.
field. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember like Closure had another quirk with the drums that Long Story
Yeah.
Short had, but
I remember it.
on Closure it was so much worse.
I didn't mind it. It wasn't as noteworthy for me. I feel like I
Okay.
noticed it more in Long Story Short. Um, but yeah, it wasn't as noteworthy for me on Closure. I didn't have a problem with it though.
Okay. Okay.
Well, yeah, I thought this album was like fairly dynamic. And what did you think of Champagne Problems? I think it was like the one of the first tracks.
That kills me. That kills Champagne Problems kills me because it's the same title of like a Katy Perry song, which makes me sad because I really liked the Katy Perry album. Yeah, see, this is what's funny, right? I'm exposing myself because the Katy Perry album was very poorly received. I don't think it's a masterpiece. I just think it's just a couple of fun like pop songs
fun. And like well produced and like the production value you're looking for, or production.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a fun pop record. Like it's nothing special, right? So that's why Champagne Problems kills me because Taylor Swift and Katy Perry are like they have like very famous like beef. So I wonder like if that's got anything to do with it. I'm sure it doesn't, but that was interesting. Yeah, Champagne Problems. The only note I have, and I can't even remember why I said this, but the only I have weird vocal inflections on Champagne Problems -Y.
Why?
I can't even remember what Champagne Problems. I'm actually gonna.
That was like the ballady song. It was like the piano. I mean, there's a lot of piano on the album. It was very like I thought it was an interesting second song. I don't know much about making music. I have friends that do. I'm exposing myself right now. But I know a couple things from what I picked up with my friends that do make a lot of music, and I thought it was really interesting to, it's obviously it's a very unique album. I thought it was interesting to top off or to start off the album with kind of like a slow ballad, and kind of like it picks up and like goes down. Because from what I've heard, a lot of times you want to have a little bit more of an upbeat start, kind of a wind down. And this album kind of felt like it was like kind of like a slow ballad to start a bit, and then it kind of picked up. The most fun songs like Nobody No Crime. Yeah. What else was a fun one? I thought that the Dorothy song was fun.
I guess Cowboy Like Me, you could also describe that as fun.
Yeah. And there's a song called Happiness. You know?
If fun for you is to like stand near like a dead forest like Taylor Swift is doing on the album cover, then that's fun. Yeah, I'm sure it's a lot of fun.
She likes her dead forests.
She does like her dead forests. Past two she does like
covers.
Yeah.
And from a visual standpoint, I'll have to say, putting my photography hat on, I actually do think that the album covers are kind of neat. On the two.
I will say that the album covers tell you what you're going to listen to. I will say that if this wasn't Taylor Swift, I would have paid no attention to this kind of music. But because it is Taylor Swift, of course I will.
Yeah, of course. Gotta give her that. Long story short, I liked it. Long story short, I liked it. I don't know.
Nah, it's fine. What would you rate it?
I'd probably rate it like a 7.5.
A 7.5.
Yeah, like
that's high praise.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know. It's always weird to rate things because it's like where like especially without any other marks to tick it. I would probably put Folklore for me personally at a 6, and I'd put this at a 7.5. But I don't know why this album just kind of spoke to me more on a personal level. Maybe I was thinking about this too. Both albums seemed a little bit wintry, and maybe the fact that this one was actually released in winter and I listened to it in the winter, maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know. But yeah, just maybe that was just like a kind of a weird non sequitur.
If you gave Folklore a 6, you did not really. You didn't sound like that back when we discussed the record back in August. Yeah, I mean, you seem to kind of agree with a lot of what I was saying, and I completely eviscerated Folklore. Yeah. Has it like grown on you since August, or?
Like I said, I haven't really went back to it. Maybe it's just where I'm putting because I'm doing like like hundreds or like I'm doing like 60 is like I'm doing like grade ratings, kind of like like 60 is like a almost failing grade.
Okay. Yeah, because I would put a 6.
I just have a skewed. Yeah,
I would put it like 5 is average, 10 is excellent, and 0 is 0.
I'll say this. I guess I would give Evermore a C plus. You know,
Yeah,
like that's, you know, not to knock it that much, but I liked it. Like I said, I would give it, or maybe even a B minus. It's not completely my type of music, but kind of more, felt, you know, I
yeah.
felt more connected to it. And then I would give Folklore maybe like a D minus, because I
Hmm.
was like not feeling that one as much.
Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking about them both, and I'm struggling to rate because I
Mm,
dislike them both. And when I
mm.
think about listening to both of them again, I have like serious reservations, but for completely different reasons, for
Mm.
both, right? Like Folklore, um, I thought the songs were more monotonous than they were on Evermore, but I think
Mm.
Evermore's lyrics are so much worse than Folklore's. So
Okay.
I'm kind of there's two different things going on. Here's
Mm-hmm.
what I will do though is in the show notes I will link to a really really great review um, on the review platform Sputnik Music. It's kind of like an underground like internet like talk kind of area where people talk about music. And a member of the staff wrote a really really great review. It is like a positive review, but it is pretty mixed. As always with this kind of music, finding like a very negative review is almost impossible.
Yeah.
Um, but there are mixed reviews for Evermore, just like there were mixed reviews for Folklore. So I will attach this to the show notes because it definitely encompasses a little bit of how I feel about it. Although the reviewer was a lot more positive about it than I was. But yeah, I will definitely attach that and say that, yeah, wasn't really a fan of this one either. And I'll tell you that I am very much looking forward to the day where Taylor Swift comes back to pop because I
You're gonna welcome her with open arms, I'm sure.
let's get into the season, the reason for the season. Yes,
Tis the
sir.
damn season.
Tis the damn. My
I'm
God.
sorry, man.
Tis the damn season. So today, as we record this, it is December 23rd. It is Christmas Eve. I'm hoping that I can get this out on. Okay, I'm gonna call it Christmas Day. For this to be released. So if it's not, I'll be very upset. I'm giving myself 2 days to edit the sucker. So hopefully it should be good.
I mean, like, yeah, it's weird to feel like when we were talking about, like, you know, putting this because we had, you know, in our minds, like, we really really wanted to have a Christmas episode, and you know, obviously we're doing that now, but it's weird because like we had this in our minds, we're gonna do a Christmas episode. We got pushed back a week, you know, because of like health concerns and whatnot, and now we're here. And it's crazy to think that Christmas is in 2 days. Like, that's
Yeah,
insane. It's just insane.
yeah. It doesn't. Yeah, I'll tell you, Eli. I'm not feeling the holidays too much.
mm,
It's just not happening for me.
the
Yeah,
magic is gone.
it's gone. I don't know if it's. I mean, there's just a lot um, that I could attribute it to, but I mean, the pandemic doesn't help anything.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely not.
big aspects of the holiday season for me. It's it's the shopping, it's
Mm,
being outside,
yeah,
being with
shopping.
friends,
Yeah,
being with
man.
friends and family. I mean, that's just
Mm,
huge aspects of. I mean, Christmas is a social holiday. The holidays are
mhm.
social. I mean,
Yeah,
I
yeah. It's, you come together as a family, you know, like
yeah.
bonding, gathering. Like, that's just what's the name of the game.
And if you're doing the whole pandemic thing the right way, then you shouldn't
Yeah,
be with family. You shouldn't be with extendeds or anything like that. People outside of your household. So I mean, I this has been just an extraordinarily just. I mean, I have felt lack of holiday cheer before this. This has completely killed it. I mean, 2020 is just for me. It has been the most like uneventful, stagnant like holiday season I have ever been through.
yeah, yeah. You know, I think I partially agree with that. I was feeling that. You know, I don't know if I mentioned, but I think I might have mentioned to you off air. I got back home to Houston like 4 days ago,
Yeah.
and up until that point, I was really feeling like I had mentioned just now that you know, I hadn't. It was crazy to think that how soon Christmas was, so I'm not fully in the holiday spirit. But before, I was way more. I think before, when I was still in Austin, still like finishing up classes, still finishing up work, I definitely was not feeling the holiday spirit. Definitely wasn't feeling the holiday vibe. Still not completely, but I think that something about coming home to Houston, coming home for the holidays, that has definitely, put me a little bit, done a little bit of work to put me more into the Christmas, the holiday spirit.
Hmm.
Put me in the seasonal whatever, like joyous period, and seeing my parents, having not seen them for a minute there.
Yeah.
I think that really just kind of made it a little bit more real to me. Seeing a tree up in a home like that, I think that really made it a little bit more real to me. And I'm wondering, with because you are like, this is the first time where you've been at home, and then you
Well,
didn't
yeah,
come home for Christmas.
yeah. I was gonna say to you, like I think yours is helped by the fact that you still have like a change of scenery.
Yes, exactly.
Because
I
now
100% agree with that.
Because now for you, like Christmas in the holiday season has to do with like coming home from doing like school and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I have been at home. I haven't at home. I was gonna say stuck at home. But I have been at home since March, since this whole thing started. I moved out of Austin, finished up school online, and I've been here since March. So like, obviously, like I had Christmas at home for like the first 18 years of my life, but for the past 4 years, it's been like I come home from college for the winter break, and I think that helps to put you in the Christmas mood. Because that's like your new reality. But with this, I mean, I wouldn't have been in school anyway, even without the pandemic. But this has not helped matters at all, and it's just, yeah. I mean, I'm missing all the signs, for the holiday season, and it's, the lack of social gathering, and it's this kind of thing too. It has just not been helpful for my Yuletide spirit, Eli.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. I think that maybe to get into the crux of why it is, I think it would be good for us maybe to compare what the holidays look like this year. I think we already started that a bit, with this whole, pilgrimage home versus, already being there. I think it's just it would be really interesting to go in and see, what's this year, what's different this year, and what's been, the same this year, and what's like changed from previous years. Just to get like what that is, that feeling, because I feel like we're not alone in feeling, not the Yuletide spirit, as you said.
Yeah.
I don't think we're alone in that, for sure, because I've talked to other people and gotten a similar vibe. I think that we've already brushed on a little bit of those things of what is maybe taking us out of the spirit, but I think to really get at the crux of it, just like looking at it, what's different about this year. And I think that the coronavirus, 100%, all the backlog from that, whether that means not seeing your family, whether that means being at home as opposed to coming home, that definitely has a huge effect. So I'm curious, what does a usual Guajardo Christmas look like in your house?
I mean, on Christmas Eve we tend to have like a pretty chill dinner. We'll have the extendeds over. So we'll have like 7 or 8, or even I think 9 people in the house at that time. It'll be, for most of the holiday season, we'll be watching like Christmas movies and doing stuff like that, going shopping, doing decorations in and out of the house. Christmas Day usually be like early in the morning. The same extendeds will come back, and we'll open presents, and they'll bring all their presents and stuff like that, and do something like. I mean, like look, like
do they stay at your house?
No, they don't. Got it. Yeah, no. I mean, the house is too small for something like that. Yeah, no. And then on Christmas Day, like we'll go to like the other extendeds side of the family, like the. Usually my dad's side will come to the house, but we'll go over to my mom's side, all of the extendeds, and we'll have like a carne asada, and just chill on Christmas Day. Yeah, I mean, it is the traditions, it's what we always do.
So is that Christmas Day? Is that still the same, like 8 or 9 people, like you'd said before, or?
Yeah.
Okay,
On
got
Christmas
it.
morning, it'll be like that, and we'll be, drinking coffee, eating breakfast, watching, old cartoons, and like opening presents till like noon, pretty much, and
And
then
then the carne
we'll
asada, that's the same
that
people,
yeah that'll
same group.
it's my mom's side of the family.
Oh,
Uh,
so I got it.
yeah,
I see what you mean. Yeah.
yeah. So after afternoon, it'll be like that, and I'll go over there and get a few handful of presents that are still left
Hey,
for me.
yeah, that's interesting. It's interesting because it's a little bit different than my Christmases. We used to do bigger Christmas deals, but I think with family, it's just kind of tough to keep. Not with this is not even coronavirus stuff. It's just in general, just it's kind of tough to keep things going. So usually my Christmases are a little bit more low key. Always obviously the four of us, and that is we're going to be doing that the same situation for this Christmas. But yeah, and even like generally this is what the Christmas looks like is before like last year. Just compare last year to this year. It's my immediate family, the four of us. My two uncles that live in Houston, and last Christmas it was my grandma and my one of my aunts that also lives in the area. This year, like my grandma passed away this year, so it's like obviously she's not going to be part of it. So that was already before, even without coronavirus, that was already our numbers were going to dwindle a little bit. We are going from 8 to 7. But my aunt, she's seeing her side of the family because she's married to my uncle, and like she's seeing her family. So that's going to bring us down even another one. So as we're looking at it right now, significantly different. A quarter of the people that were there last year aren't going to be there this year.
Yeah.
But kind of generally still pretty low key. And in general, I think compared to a lot of families, we keep it pretty low key. And this year only seeing my insular family of the four of us, me, my mom, my dad, my brother, and my two uncles, adding on to that pretty low key thing. Like and I'll do like exchange gifts with like cousins that live in New Mexico or California or wherever that they live. But yeah, it's pretty low key affair for us this year. And like it almost always is. We used to do the bigger things and going to see family and all that, but I don't think the coronavirus has changed my plans that much. So maybe that's part of why it hasn't affected me. The change hasn't affected me as much. But yeah, I think that's interesting. Everyone seems to have very widely different Christmas plans. Everyone has a different situation, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it brings me to see my uncles. We're gonna try and be very safe because one of my uncles, like he works at Home Depot, and he's out there, and he's like essential worker or frontline worker,
Right.
Doing working at Home Depot. So we're trying to be super safe with that. And we were like, oh, what are we gonna do? We're gonna spread out and all that. And what we're doing now, the plan is right now, and this might change, with the weather. Is we're planning on eating outside and doing the entire affair outside, keeping our distance outside as well, obviously.
Good. Yeah.
It makes it a lot easier, but I think that kind of brings me to kind of maybe a point about why maybe we're not feeling the Yuletide spirit as much is the weather, man. Like it is so
Awful.
hot,
Awful.
hot.
Yeah. No kidding.
I mean, it's beautiful. Like I don't hate it because again, like I'm getting to see my uncle, which it would have been a lot more dangerous had we not been able to do it outside, right? But yeah, the weather is just
and it sucks because
so
like
hot.
it's been hot in Austin too, right? Like
it's been hot in Austin. It was hot in Houston. I'm sure I've seen in Laredo. It's pretty hot too there, right?
Yeah, I mean it's been warm as hell, like as if this isn't even like the season.
It's Christmas Eve, and it was 81 today in Houston.
Yeah, it was 79 today in Laredo. I mean,
wow.
Awful. Tomorrow it's actually going to be chillier.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be high of 62, low of 33. And I'm okay with it getting cold at night. See,
Yeah,
because in
it
the
does get
past,
pretty cold at night.
and in the past, like that's what you've relied on because I hate like we get warm Christmases all the time. Like it'll
Mhm.
be like 80 or 75 day of, when I'm hanging out with the extendeds outside like
Mm.
at the carnita, but it's usually made up for the fact that New Year's Eve we spend a lot of time like at night obviously.
Mm.
Um it,
Yeah,
it can
yeah.
be okay if it's cold on if it's a cold New Year's Eve
Mhm.
night. If it's like 55 or,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
40. I mean, it's not that cold for most people that are not down here
Down
in
Texas.
South Texas, but in South
Yeah,
Texas, you take what you can get, right?
yeah.
Um, it has been an uncharacteristically mild season, and I know it's been mild in Austin too because I check
Mm.
I get both weather obviously, and I used to love uh, when it was starting to get when it would get cold in Austin because it got cold in Austin earlier and it gets colder in Austin than it does in Laredo. So it starts earlier and it's colder for longer.
Do you know what the
Yeah.
craziest thing is though?
Yeah.
I think the coldest time of this year that I remember in Austin was October.
Yeah,
Isn't that insane?
it'll happen in
Like,
October. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, October was super cold, then November was kind of like up and down, and this
Yeah.
December has been super warm.
Yeah, it's been muggy. It's
Crazy.
been muggy. That's the
Muggy,
thing. Yeah.
yeah.
And it's funny because like last year, it started getting cold in Austin in early October. You might remember
Yeah,
it was like I
yeah.
remember all of a sudden like it was like 45 degrees, day of,
I
and it's like,
know.
oh, incredible. It was early October. It was like October 10th. This was last year, 2019,
Yeah, and this was
and
the same story this year, I would say,
yeah,
ish.
and it's great, and eventually it will get hot again because
Mm.
it's still like fall, right? But then
Yeah.
but then in Austin it gets cold, like cold like in November, December, and in Laredo it kind of gets cold in December, but I mean this winter has been really mild down here,
Yeah.
and it's been really cold in other places, but it's been very very mild down here.
I mean, as of 2 days ago, it has been winter. Like it's the winter solstice was the
Yeah.
21st, and as of 2 days ago, when we're recording
And I
this,
know that January technically is the colder month, but
yeah,
I don't.
supposedly, yeah.
Yeah,
I was
but
looking. I remember in February, in last year in Austin, February, that we had snow in Austin. I don't know if you remember that.
yeah.
We had snow in February of this year.
I mean, when the pandemic started, like it was still cold a few days in Austin. Like it was still like March was still like it gets cold in Austin even in early
In March.
April.
Yeah.
Occasionally it'll get cold in Austin in early April, but after that it warms up a lot. But yeah, when the pandemic started, we were still having cold days in Austin. We don't get cold days in Laredo in March, though. I mean that just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, but in Austin it does. But yeah, I mean even in Austin this winter it has been unseasonably warm too,
And
which
that really affects. I think that
kills it.
doesn't feel like Christmas. Doesn't feel like Christmas weather.
We had a 90-degree Christmas in 2012. Awful.
Wow,
Awful.
90 degrees.
Awful.
And that the Christmas is always like the fourth day of winter. 90 degrees in
Yeah.
winter. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I mean that just is that's just weird.
Yeah.
Coming from that.
It'll be okay. I'm looking at the weather right now. It'll be okay in Laredo on Christmas. It'll be a high of 70.
I
But
think
that
that's
means
what we're looking at, Houston-ish.
yeah, that means it's gonna chill around the 60s most of the day, which is okay. Not great, but it's okay.
Yeah, we're probably 2 degrees cooler in Houston. I would say 2 or 3, and it's cool. Thankfully, it's cool enough. It's warm enough that we can do an outside function without being too chilly.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. Like if we did it today, I mean, like it's 81's fine. Like we're Texans, we can kind of take it. But like that would be on the warmer side to like it's like that's 81 is warmer outside than inside. Generally.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And yeah, it's just crazy to think of like, yeah, we're worrying about it maybe possibly being too hot to be outside in winter. Like that's just so weird.
It's sad.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the 10 days ahead, and it's gonna be like we're gonna have like highs of 85, 84 in deep December. I mean, it's just sad. I mean, I mean, I'll blame global warming for this.
Yeah, for real.
That's a big part of. I'm growing older,
definitely
and
is.
the pandemic, but also global warming has made has just made Christmas suck. Like,
Global warming is the most Grinchiest Grinch possible.